Joel, President Trump, for the second day in a row now, is giving Iran a heads up about these attacks. Why broadcast it? Is that a negotiating tactic?
Anna, quite frankly, the president is so public about every day's tactical changes that he's completely undermined his ability to project power and consistency and lead a policy. He's following the policy rather than driving it. And I think what we're talking about right now today, as an example with Carg Island, it's another rhetorical flourish. Maybe he'll go in, maybe he won't go in. We don't really know. And so it does kneecap his ability to be taken seriously at the negotiating table. The folks in the region, as we're just discussing, they want guarantees that they're going to be protected. Why should they be wondering whether or not the United States is going to be protecting them? We have longstanding agreements with these multiple countries, but now they're uncertain and unclear. Same with Israel. Prime Minister Netanyahu getting told, don't hit Lebanon and Hezbollah when they strike you. Then he goes and hits them. It's total confusion. And I think that undermines our ability to really secure a deal. And so the president's sort of flailing about and really weakening our diplomatic leverage.
At this point in Zaman, it's just more and more escalation. Already last night saw the biggest wave of attacks since the April ceasefire was instituted. Add to that, Iran now claiming to have fully closed the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. says it's not closed. So what is the status of transit right now?
Yeah, look, fragile isn't the word for a ceasefire anymore. You said right at the top, this is a ceasefire that has broken down. And I think that's well and true. It's just a ceasefire in name right now, Anna. But look, when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, it's been another volatile 48 hours or so. We've had it confirmed today that there are 3 Indian seafarers who have been killed as a result of a U.S. strike on a vessel in the Strait of Hormuz just off the coast of Oman. 21 other crew members from that vessel had to be rescued. But this was a vessel with Iranian oil attempting to breach the American naval blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. I think this is just a reminder of the volatility inside that waterway where usually 20% of the world's oil passes through. But over the last 3.5 months, with the Iranian control on one side and now the U.S. naval blockade on another side, it's resulted in absolute catastrophe with the world's economy. It's caused huge pain with countries right around the world. And now we are seeing deaths in the Strait of Hormuz with Indian seafarers who've got nothing to do with this whole conflict. Overnight as well, Anna, Iran claimed that it hit a U.S. warship. Now, that's been completely denied by CENTCOM. They've disputed that, and they've said that the waterway remains fully open. I think this is proving a really big problem for President Trump because he needs the Strait of Hormuz open. We know that because of the significant impact it's had on the global economy. The economy continues to struggle. Oil prices continue to climb. And for all sides, Anna, the pressure continues to mount.
And Joel, when the president compares this operation, this situation to Venezuela, is it anything like Venezuela?
No, Anna, he's dreaming. He's having dreams of Venezuela. Where's my Delcy? He was famously cited as having said early on in this conflict. This is not a Venezuela situation where we have an identified new leader who is taking control of the country that can be a sort of proxy, surrogate, liaison with the United States as we do in Venezuela. And he's not going to get that. It has to be, he has to get out of that mindset and think more about opening up these straits and making the trade to get us onto a path for a diplomatic agreement on the nuclear program. Remember that? And then, of course, the other key issues on regional activities by Iran, their missile program. There's a whole lot on the table. And if he's looking for that unicorn, he's not going to find it in Iran. And I fear he's entering the mission creep phase right now of this conflict with Iran.
The other thing that was really striking last night is that the president, according to Fox, claimed he was in direct contact with Iranian leadership. He was talking to Iranian leadership during the strikes last night, and that Iran asked him to end the attacks. The U.S. did wrap up those attacks a couple hours later, but then Iran unleashed its wave of strikes. So, Joel, if that conversation actually happened, did President Trump get played? And regardless, do you see either side more willing to negotiate after all of this?
Well, you know, and I can't help but get out of my mind the experience we had when he went to North Korea and met with President Kim and spoke directly with him, told him what we wanted. And now we learned only days ago that North Korea's nuclear program is continuing to advance very aggressively. He got nothing out of that direct contact. So if there was direct contact, it was a failure. My view on the diplomatic process for this is that he has to have his diplomats and his allies supporting our diplomats engaging directly with the key people in that country who can make a deal. And then at the end, you have an agreement leader to leader or something analogous to that. But him being on the phone and having these conversations, the past is not a good indicator of a successful negotiation leader to leader for President Trump.
Joel Rubin, Inzamam Rashid, and Colonel Jack Jacobs, thank you all. Colonel Jack, I'm sorry we had some audio issues. I couldn't come back to you, but appreciate you all. Up next, the president.